All right. I am getting a resin printer. I'm finally caving. I can't take it anymore. I've done the best I can with filament. The models are very good. I do like the filament models that I've made, but I think I've reached a point where I just have to get a resin printer. I think it's, the fact that and the dwarves have come out great. I gotta say, for the dwarves, filament printing is good enough. There are some models that didn't come out as great as I had hoped, but overall, the dwarves came out very very good, and they're acceptable. But when you get to the skinnier models, when you're talking about, um, yeah, gosh, when you're talking about models that I'll get to that later with spears, these lizardmen are pretty. They're not going to print out poorly on a filament printer. They're pretty robust. But when you start getting with spears, skinnier models, let me get spears right here. They just don't come out very well on a filament printer. So fantasy models don't do as well on the filament as, say, the dwarves or space marines. They come out pretty well on there. I think they're acceptable. But I have a human empire army that I was printing, and it's just a real pain. The spears snap when you take the banner snap when you take the supports off. It's just, and sometimes it doesn't even print right. They come out warped or in a different direction or disjointed, or it doesn't work as well as what I'm seeing right here from a resin printer. So I saw a great sale. First of all, the Mars 4 price here is fantastic. I'm getting all set to buy it. I find it on Amazon for I think it was $190. That's almost giving it away, in my opinion. I was like, man, I gotta get this. I have a couple problems though. My wife does not want fumes in the house anywhere. I've got a basement garage. She's worried those fumes are going to come up into the house, and I don't blame her. I think she's right. So I don't know if this printer is going to fit the bill. So I started looking around, and I actually came up with a printer that I like, and it's the Anycubic Photon Mono M5S Pro. And I know people are going to say Anycubic is terrible or whatever. I keep seeing reviews that people don't like Anycubic, and then I see reviews or people that use it, and it's just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So I don't understand. I'm just a beginner. I'm beyond a beginner. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. I just know I want really nice looking models. And this one actually has the features that I not only want, but I need. So in order to appease my wife, I told her I'm going to be printing these models outside the house. I have a deck that can protect me from the elements. I can go under there and set up my print stuff, but I can protect it from the rain or whatever, but I can't protect it from the temperature. And that's why this printer comes in to play here. It has a heater. Okay, that's the big thing right here. It has a heater. It's going to keep my resin the right temperature. I can get the one I really would like is like $800. So this one's the only one with a heater that's in my price range. Of course, it has a purifier, which was a big thing for me, even though people say it doesn't really do much. But I have a theory about that. It's pretty fast, and it's got a big plate. It's a medium-sized printer. If you want to make a comparison, then you need to be talking about the Saturn Ultra. The Saturn Ultra is probably the closest. Hold on a second. Resin printers, Saturn Ultra. So I'm thinking that the Saturn Ultra is the equivalent of what I'm getting here with the M5 Pro. They've got a similar build plate, similar resolution, similar features, but it has a couple of advantages over the Saturn. Now, the Saturn advantage is going to be that it is, people rave about it. They say it's the best quality. You're going to get the best prints out of it. That's something I wanted. However, it is it's lacking a couple things that I need that Anycubic gives me. Like I said, the heater being outside, I need something to keep that resin the right temperature. But it also has auto leveling. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing here, so it's really nice that it's going to take care of that for me. It's going to detect resin residue, so if there's something in the vat that, because I made a mistake and didn't figure it out, it's nice that it's going to figure that out for me. It's going to detect whether or not I have the right resin. Nothing drives me more crazy than if you have a print and then there's not enough filament or resin, and then it ruins the whole thing. You wasted your time, your material, everything. So it's great that it tells you that. It also will tell you if there's a failure in your print and stop the print. So that's something I want. Again, you're wasting time and material if it just keeps going when there's already a failure. It does a device self-check. It has intelligent release. So I'm not sure about that, but I think it changes the speed to make sure that it pops off the vat. What do you call it? The vat. It's the stretchy thing that they use to stick the models to so they can build it. Anyway, it'll monitor the whole thing. It'll tell me on my phone, show me what's going on, because I'm not going to sit outside underneath the deck watching, make sure it's okay, or sit in the corner of the garage where it's safe. So this is something I really like, and people have complained that this only uses cloud base. They want it to hook up to their computer, and I understand that, and that's totally acceptable for them. But for me, I'm not going to be anywhere near my computer. My computer's going to be up on the second floor on the opposite end of the house. And yeah, to go all the way from basically the basement, because the deck's on the basement level, to go all the way up to the second floor and go to my room and fire up the computer. It's just nice to put all the builds onto the cloud and then control it from my phone. I'd actually rather have that, if I'm understanding it correctly. Let's see, was there anything else that it just fits what I'm looking for? And I like the fact that it has a bigger plate. I could put an entire unit of cavalry or infantry on this plate. The Mars just wasn't big enough. You'd have to do several prints just for that, which means that in less than 4 hours, sometimes it depends on what settings I use, 2 hours, I can do a full unit, put it away, and then paint that unit, and then next week print another one. I don't have to keep printing like I do on the filament printer. That thing's going 24/7 for like 6 months now. So it's nice to be able to do that. The next thing I looked at was price. So this is $479, and the Elegoo, oh my gosh, why does it keep doing this? Okay, there we go, is $400. $80 more for the Anycubic. Why would you do that? That makes no sense. Why would you pay more for that? Yeah, it's got a couple more features, but here's the thing. I had a $30 coupon, brought it down to $450, and on top of that, they give you 2 bottles of ABS-like resin at this point because they're having a special. And these are $36 each, so that's $72. So if I'm doing the math right, it's something like $378 it ends up being. If you take out the coupon and the resin, it makes it cheaper than the Saturn. So now we're talking, okay, it's starting to make more financial sense. You're getting those extra features. Yeah, you're probably not getting the same quality that the Saturn would be getting. But honestly, I'm such a beginner. I don't think, I looked at the videos that people are saying, look, the Saturn is so much better than the Anycubic. And they weren't doing the Pro, they were doing the M5S. And they compared the two, and I looked at the models, and I'm telling you right now, I could not tell the difference. It was it must have been slight. I mean, he made it sound, the people I'm watching made it sound like it was obvious. I couldn't tell, and especially when it's on the tabletop, there's no way you're going to be able to tell. As long as it looks smooth, it looks, that all the details are there, it doesn't break off. The ABS is supposed to be tougher so that, the models don't break as easy, which, yeah, so I mean, having the ABS, if you drop a model and it doesn't break, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for tougher models. That would be nice if this ABS does do what it says it does. Well, look, Anycubic may be selling me a bag of caca or something where none of these features work really well, and I'll get ripped off here, but I got to go with what features I need personally, and if I have to sacrifice a tiny bit of quality to get these features so that I don't mess up the prints because I'm such a beginner, I have water washable resin, which is what this ABS is, to help me, and that's my next question. Because if you say Anycubic's garbage, don't get it. It's too late. That ship has sailed. I've already ordered it. I'm getting it. It is the only way that I can do resin printing in my household without getting a divorce or anything. I have to compromise on a couple things here, and but I'm very excited about doing resin. But there's a lot of things I don't know. So I'd like to do water. I got the water washable. Is the plant-based isopropyl alcohol not as good? Where it's just too smelly, because I hear a lot of complaints about it. But I'd like it to have a safer resin. I mean, is it safe at all? It's very confusing with all the information out there. So I'd appreciate any help, any advice that people have about water washable, plant-based resin, any other safety tips that are not obvious. Obviously, wear the nitrile gloves and respirator and eye protection. Any kind of protection that protects your skin. Yeah, I know about that stuff. But as far as the resins themselves, should I stick with the water washable ABS? It looks like a good deal for me. I'd rather use water. Is the isopropyl alcohol really not that big of a deal, or is it really that smelly? And maybe if you have a chance to avoid it, maybe you should. So that's the advice I'm looking for here. Any other advice that I didn't quite cover, just go ahead and shoot it in the comments below. And I'll catch you next time.